G'day everybody, my name is Gareth Walton and today I am deleting Twitter at the end of this video, so stick around for that. I'll be telling you why I'm doing this, but today's video is pretty much talking about the problems that are happening in America right now in the past 72 hours, 3 days roughly. It has been pretty crazy over there. Was that a good camera angle? Yes, it was. That worked out just fine. Now, guys, I've got a huge list of things to talk about. This is crazy history. Let's talk about what's actually going on. So, Trump basically posts a video in January. It said that it could be the biggest event in DC history. And to be a part of history, join the march on the January 6th. Well, it probably was one of, if not the biggest events in DC history. So Trump got that one right, that's for sure. 5 people, unfortunately, died. Wow, it was pretty crazy. Now, this march was to basically show the government that the people are outraged by the possibility of voter fraud. Okay, fair enough. Democracy. Whenever people are outraged by something, they go to the street and they campaign against it, they march against it, they rally against it. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you would ask China that same question, they'd find a lot of things worried with problems with it. Now, what actually happened, guys? Well, there's video footage of the police apparently letting protesters in. Thousands of people jumped the barricade. Hundreds ran into the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. I don't think a lot of damage was done, but apparently there were a few things stolen, like Nancy Pelosi's, the Speaker of the House, her laptop was actually stolen. Things like that were taken. Apparently I read somewhere that one of the protesters smudged poo everywhere. Wow, there were some pretty dirty guys. My question to you though, was it this guy right here? There we go. Can you guys see that one right now? Was it this guy? And there's also an article saying that The Simpsons predicted this guy, which is actually untrue. That's just a computer-generated image. That's not an actual Simpsons prediction. But that guy is actually named Jake, believe it or not. There he is again. And if you were one of the people who actually went into the DC Capitol building, well, now the FBI of all companies, if you were ever to be searched by anyone, you probably don't want to be searched for by the FBI, but all of these people, and probably more, are currently getting looked for by the FBI and the Secret Service. And basically they've said that if you were a part of those people going into the Capitol, expect a knock at your door, regardless whether you live in DC or anywhere else in America. They're arresting every one of them. But yes, that main guy right there, can you guys see? There we go. His name is Jake. That one right there. He's probably going to be the face of 2021 when we look back in history. Let's face it. So, why did Donald Trump invite all of these people here? Well, as you probably know, he reckons there was something called voter fraud happening. Now, why does he reckon this? Well, there is a lot of evidence. There is apparently a lot of real evidence showing that there was voter fraud. People that were no longer registered to vote were sent papers in the mail from the government. Why did this happen? That is not the right thing to do. Now, 34 out of 50 American states have voter ID laws. 16 don't. So think about that again. 34 of America's 50 states have voter ID laws. 16 don't. Excuse me, but what the hell is going on here? Is this America or is this a third world country? I don't even know anymore. So, why is it that 16 American states, the #1 country in the world, why is it that 16 American states don't even require voter ID? You don't even need an ID, I should say, to vote. I mean, it's pretty dodgy. That's honestly going to allow for some sort of corruption to happen every 4 years. That is pretty scary. And Donald Trump was actually tweeting about this a little while ago, saying that even Mexico has voter ID laws that are pretty strong. Things clearly need to change regarding that. So, yeah, there was another thing called the Dominion voting system. That was the computer system that allowed you to vote for either Biden or Trump. It's the system that allowed you to click on either one or the other. Now, potentially there is some sort of corruption happening there with the Dominion voting program, and the servers were actually out of the country in some sort of, I don't know, third world country. I don't really know. That's what I've heard. I don't know how accurate it is, but basically they're allowing the secure data of who voted for who and how many votes that person went for. All that data was sent to a third world country, or other, a third party country, I should probably say, out of America for potential hackers to potentially change the results. We don't know if that actually happened. Apparently, the Dominion company are now trying to sue news networks and news presenters that were saying that they were corrupt and that the voting machines were actually all corrupt and coded wrong. So I should probably not talk about this anymore, otherwise I'm going to get sued. But that's all just speculation. We don't know if it actually happened or not. I'm not saying it did happen. Right. Social media companies like Facebook and Instagram, owned by Mark Zuckerberg, has now blocked Trump's 2 pages until January 20, which is the inauguration of Joe Biden, which Donald Trump apparently is not going to go visit. Good for him, I reckon. If he honestly believes that there is voter fraud, then shit, I wouldn't want to go myself either. This is pretty bad. This is, regarding the social media companies not allowing him to have free speech. That is pretty terrible. And of course, I'll talk about Twitter in a second, which have completely blocked him forever, but I'll get to that in a second. I mean, that's pretty bad. If this can happen to the world's most powerful man by American-owned company named Twitter and Facebook and all that, then we have no hope. Little people like you, me in the future, there is no free speech in the future. This is pretty bad, honestly. So, yeah, I mean, here's a few articles of what's going on with the webpage. Let's have a look here. This was Donald Trump's tweet regarding the big rally that was supposed to happen. And can you guys see me? There we go. Oop. There we go. The big protest rally in Washington, D.C. will take place at 11 a.m. tomorrow, January 6th. Location details to follow. Stop the steal. That's Jake. He's now become an absolute legend. That's the FBI looking for those photos. Now, this is another photo of the Capitol getting sieged, I guess you could say. And this was Donald Trump's tweet after everything went haywire with the rally. These are the things and events that happen when a sacred landslide election victory is so unceremoniously and viciously stripped away from great patriots who have been badly and unfairly treated for so long. Go home with love and peace. Remember this day forever. So basically, the last words that Donald Trump said was go home with love and peace. Remember this day forever. And Twitter have been blocking these tweets for a while now. They've obviously been flagging certain tweets here and there, whether Trump would say something that Twitter thought was incorrect, they'd flag it as a possibly incorrect article, such as, the election was rigged. Well, that's what Trump and his huge amount of legal team reckon actually happened. So who is Twitter to say otherwise when, someone's not guilty until proven guilty, but there's obviously evidence there to show that it actually happened. So why is Twitter flagging these things? But fair enough, if Twitter think that something is not right, flag it. But to actually delete these comments and now to actually delete the man himself, I mean, this is terrible. What chance do any of us have to to ever be able to speak what we want to say. I mean, we can't obviously bully people, and if you bully someone with your words, those comments and potential tweets should be deleted. But to have your actual account deleted, wow! And I mean, Trump has actually now gone on to his other accounts, with the main official White House Twitter and his other Team Trump Twitter accounts, and they've been blocked as well. This is disgusting. This is taking away free speech. This is honestly something that would happen in China. China would do this and do this all the time and have been doing this for many, many years. And now that this is happening in America, there's no way of knowing how far this will actually go. It's pretty bad what's happening. So guys, here is my Twitter account right here, right now, right here, right now. As you guys can see, that's my Twitter handle. How many followers do I have? 178. Boo-hoo. I've had my account for like 10 years. Over 10 years. 11 years. I'm going to delete it right now. Here we go. Will I bring it back at some point in time? Who knows? But I am deleting this right now. Okay, where do we go? Settings and privacy. Deactivate your account. Can you guys see that right now? Deactivate. Can you guys see that? I'm about to deactivate it. I'm going to move the camera over there. Can you guys see that? Here we go. Deactivate. Boom. My account is deactivated. Sorry to see you go. Goodbye. So I think a lot of people are actually deleting their Twitter accounts now because of what Twitter has done. So I think there is a bit of a backlash because of what's happened, what they've been doing with Trump. I'm not necessarily deleting my Twitter because they deleted Trump. I'm deleting my Twitter because of what this means for our future. If they can silence the world's most powerful man, they can silence any of us at any time with no justice served ever. This is terrible news for us. I'm making a bit of a stand on this. I am one of the thousands of people that are now deleting their Twitter account. It is what it is. Yeah, terrible news that's happening in America, but Trump didn't want anyone to die. He didn't want anyone to be hurt, but obviously marching in the street is completely legal. He was showing how upset the American people were based on potential voter fraud. One of the things I didn't even say was that dead people have apparently been voting for either Trump or Biden. Most of them, I think, were voting for Biden. I wonder why. How is this happening? It's been well documented. This is a factual thing. Dead people are voting, which means that people that are living are voting on behalf of that dead person. It's terrible that these things are happening. Voter laws need to be reinstated, but it is what it is. Will 4 years of Joe Biden be a good thing or a bad thing? Time will tell. Will Donald Trump reinstate his presidency? Will he try and run again in 4 years? Who knows? He's 78 now, I believe. He'll be 79, 80, 81, 82 years old then. He's getting on in years. Will his sons ever try and become president? Will his daughter Ivanka ever try and become president? Who knows? But they've certainly got a huge following behind them. But Trump now, with these 89 million Twitter followers, that's a lot of followers to have gone, unfortunately. But one more thing I will say is that Trump is now trying to get his own social media network built. Or he's trying to use another social media network, but they're trying to do both just in case one doesn't quite work out. So, yeah, why rely on a third-party government? Why rely on a third-party social media network when you can build your own, I reckon. That's going to be it for today's video. Hopefully you learned something. I don't claim to be all that knowledgeable with anything, but I just, I gather bits and pieces of information here and there, and I try and piece them together as best as possible so I can create a, somewhat, hopefully, factual story for you guys. This is what's happening. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This is my social media everywhere, guys. No more Twitter. Instagram, maybe. Facebook, yeah. YouTube, obviously. I love you all. I'll see you for the next video. Peace. Bye.